Here we are back together again, friends, for another episode of the Juicebox Podcast.
Hello, my name is Curtis. I'm a newly diagnosed LADA. Went from type 2 to LADA just this past couple weeks.
This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by Skin Grip. Durable, skin-safe adhesive that lasts. Your diabetes devices, they can fall off easily sometimes, especially when you're bathing or very active. When those devices fall off, your life is disrupted and it costs you money. But Skin Grip patches, they keep your devices secure. Skin Grip was founded by a family directly impacted by type 1, and it's trusted by hundreds of thousands of individuals living with diabetes. Juicebox Podcast listeners are going to get 20% off of their first order by visiting skingrip.com/juicebox. Nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan. Today's podcast is sponsored by US Med. usmed.com/juicebox. You can get your diabetes supplies from the same place that we do. And I'm talking about Dexcom, Libre, Omnipod, Tandem, and so much more. usmed.com/juicebox or call 888-721-1514. Summertime is right around the corner, and Omnipod 5 is the only tube-free automated insulin delivery system in the United States. Because it's tube-free, it's also waterproof, and it goes wherever you go. Learn more at my link, omnipod.com/juicebox. That's right, Omnipod is sponsoring this episode of the podcast, and at my link, you can get a free starter kit. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Full terms and conditions can be found at omnipod.com/juicebox.
Hello, my name is Curtis. I'm a newly diagnosed LADA. Went from type 2 to LADA just this past couple weeks.
So how long ago did you get your initial diagnosis?
The initial diagnosis, type 2, was a year and a half ago. And before that, I was considered pre-diabetic. And you know how they always say with pre-diabetes, exercise, lose weight, and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen.
Did you exercise and lose weight and weren't fine, or did none of it happen?
So I went to kind of extreme. I went and did the whole low carb diet. Where I work I'm very active. Mm-hmm. I drive a brown truck that delivers packages. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves us. But so I'm constantly working and everything. And I was almost 300 pounds. I lost maybe about 30 pounds, went back in and was told, oh, well, you're not doing it right. You're not exercising. You're not losing, you lost a little weight, but you're not eating right. And that's why you keep on creeping up. And it kept happening to where we ended up having me placed on metformin and then another medication. And this was my outside doc. Me and her didn't see eye to eye. And, I have her as a doc, but I also have my VA doc and my spouse. My wife is a nurse practitioner, and I trust her with a lot of the decisions when it comes to should I do something.
Tell me, VA doc, you were in the military?
Yes.
No, just tell me, when did you go in and how long were you?
I was in from 1999 all the way till 2008. 2006 was the second time I got injured. The first time I got injured, our Humvee was hit by an IED. Mm-hmm. And I got knocked out pretty good. Nothing too tremendous. Then it got back and got deployed again. And the last injury, which took me out of being in the military, I was blown up, 3 pieces of shrapnel, and shot 7 times.
Jesus.
So I've gone through about 52, I believe, operations so far throughout the years. And actually that when that injury happened, I had a traumatic brain injury to actually where I don't remember my past. The only thing of that day that I truly remember is laying down on the ground, facing up, looking at it, the most beautiful blue sky I've ever seen in my life.
And you think that's after you were hit?
That was definitely after I was hit.
Yeah. Curtis, tell me, were you in a firefight?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So the IED was I was told everything that happened.
Yeah,
Of course, I don't remember. We had an IED roadside. It blew. We were in a firefight, and that's when I got hit 3 times in the chest, and I was brought down. And unfortunately, my flight jacket was one of those ones that weren't up to specs, and it went through my Kevlar, missed my heart barely. One went into my lung, and one went into my abdomen. So then we were, because of the firefight and everything going on, it was too hostile of an area to fly in and evac me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was told I was thrown into the Humvee. They backtracked, and apparently I heard my buddy got blown up by an ID pretty close to us, and I wouldn't let them stop and take me. I made them go get him. And on our way back through the city, we were ambushed. And when we were ambushed, I rolled on top of my buddy, and I got hit 4 times in the back.
Jeez.
So then, of course, we, got evac'd out of there, went through a lot of hospital. I mean, I was in the hospital for 2.5 years. Unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries. So
I'm sorry, man. That's something else. And you were in the hospital for over 2 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
How old were you when that happened?
That was in 2006. And I'm 42. My early 20s.
Okay. My gosh.
So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're okay. I mean, I don't know if you are or not, but I'm glad you're alive, I guess. And let's find out about the rest of it. So you told me before we started talking that you wonder if what's happening to you now doesn't have something to do with then. But what's the connection that you think you might see there?
Yes. So while all this was happening in the hospital and everything, I died a couple times in different operating rooms. And the reason I'm thinking, I'm not sure, I don't know about the data, but I had multiple blood infusions because throughout from when I got injured to getting to a safe area, I was given blood multiple times. And then throughout some of the operations, because I was still bleeding out until they were able to stop all the bleeding and everything. I think they said they went through almost 17 units of blood at that time.
Just keeping you alive to get you to a place where they could address what happened to you.
Yes.
My gosh. Because they couldn't airlift you out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. We got back behind the wire, and I was taken straight into the surgical area, and where they stabilized me from the time I got injured to stabilized at that location to be airlifted out. I went through 17 units of blood.
My gosh. So there's like a more mobile surgical center close to the line, back behind the wire. They get you as stable as they can to get you off to a hospital where they can address things further.
Correct. Yeah. We were transferred from there over to Germany until we were completely stable and able to go back to the United States.
Yeah. Did your buddy make it as far as Germany, or did he pass before then?
He actually made it all the way back over the U.S. with me. And then during one of his operations, there was complications and he passed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Before we started to record, you said, I don't know if there's a connection, but I feel like there could be. So what do you think between all those surgeries and the damage and the infusions and everything? Like, what is it that you're wondering about? When
I finally got diagnosed correctly, I'm LADA now, and I have, what was it? The IA2 is crazy high, where they're currently right now my beta cells are being destroyed. Just trying to figure out from the trauma to all the blood infusions and all the operations, if something either might have got it from somebody else's blood, to even was the trauma the onset that kind of kicked whatever in gear.
I see. Your brain's just all over the place trying to figure out what might have happened to you. Is there autoimmune in your family? Beyond type 1 diabetes, is there thyroid, celiac, other autoimmune issues? I don't know, even psoriasis, or what's the one where your skin gets different colors that Michael Jackson had? Why can't I think of it all of a sudden?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, anything like that? Mom, dad, uncles, aunts, anything?
I knew you were going to ask that, so I contacted my family just to make sure I was correct, and we have no autoimmune.
Okay.
My father does have type 2 diabetes, but other than that,
yeah, tell them to get in line. Everybody's got that. Okay, so you're not seeing any other autoimmune throughout your family line?
Correct.
Okay. Listen, I'm nobody in this scenario, but I don't think you can get type 1 through an infusion, just like somebody else's blood kind of a situation. That doesn't sound right to me. The traumatic part doesn't not make sense, but it would be uncommon with the other stories that people have told me if the trauma was 20 years before the diagnosis. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a bigger question around that? Mm-hmm. I guess, why do you want to know? Why do you care how you got it?
Curiosity.
Yeah, just to know.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Just a curiosity. And then, right before I actually finally had to start going to see the doctor and getting told, oh, well, you're type 2. Out of the military, I did a lot of different things, including I've been a paramedic forever. And during COVID, I was a paramedic on the weekends, and during the week, I was doing my normal job. And I caught it once. It wasn't that bad. Caught it again when it really came about. And I was out of work for about a month trying to get over it. Had a real hard time. And I'm considered a long COVID patient now because of it. And then I started having to go see doctors again. And that's when I was told, hey, your sugar's elevated. You're pre-diabetic. You're going to become diabetic if you don't take care of it. And so I really started trying to get as healthy as I possibly could. And then the doctor that I had, she was trying to help. She wasn't the nicest about everything and didn't believe anything I said. And then when I went to the VA to do blood work and everything else, like I normally do, the blood work came back that I was very elevated with AA1C. And I was started on Ozempic to see if that would help along with the pills. Mm-hmm. And I was on that for about a year. And when I went back to my primary care on the outside, the doctor that I had, she left the practice. So I was given a nurse practitioner to look over my care. And when I was telling her everything was going on, and I told her, this is my care team, this is how I like to operate, she looked at me and said, well, all of y'all are stupid.
Awesome.
I was like, okay.
Jesus.
So I was like, well, this is going to be the first and probably the last time I'm going to see you.
Beat you.
Oh.
Give me a second, because there's a lot to unpack here. So let me go back to you. In the military, you weren't 300 pounds. What'd you weigh in the military?
Because I was also a bodybuilder in the military, I was about 230, 240.
So how tall, can I ask?
5'8". My wife says I'm 5'10", but
So it's what she tells.
Think
that's what she just tells her friends. You're not tall. You're not short. You're carrying a lot of muscle, it sounds like.
Yes.
Where does the weight come? Does it come sitting in the hospital? Does it come after that? Today's episode is brought to you by Omnipod. It might sound crazy to say, but summertime is right around the corner. That means more swimming, sports, activities, vacations, and you know what's a great feeling? Being able to stay connected to automated insulin delivery while doing it all. Omnipod 5 is the only tube-free automated insulin delivery system in the US. And because it's tube-free and waterproof, it goes everywhere you do. In the pool, in the ocean, or on the soccer field. Unlike traditional insulin pumps, you never have to disconnect from Omnipod 5 for daily activities, which means you never have to take a break from automated insulin delivery. Ready to go tube-free? Request your free Omnipod 5 starter kit today at omnipod.com/juicebox. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Full terms and conditions can be found at omnipod.com/juicebox. Type that link into your browser or go to juiceboxpodcast.com and click on the image of Omnipod right at the bottom. There's also a link right in the show notes of your podcast player. You've probably heard me talk about US Med and how simple it is to reorder with US Med using their email system. But did you know that if you don't see the email and you're set up for this, you have to set it up. They don't just randomly call you, but I'm set up to be called if I don't respond to the email because I don't trust myself 100%. So one time I didn't respond to the email and the phone rings at the house. It's like, ring, you know how it works. And I picked it up. I was like, hello. And it was just the recording. It was like, US Med. Doesn't actually sound like that, but you know what I'm saying. It said, hey, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's basically like, hey, your order's ready. You want us to send it? Push this button if you want us to send it. Or if you'd like to wait, I think it lets you put it off like a couple of weeks, or push this button for that. That's pretty much it. I pushed the button to send it, and a few days later, box right at my door. That's it. usmed.com/juicebox or call 888-721-1514. Get your free benefits check now and get started with US Med. Dexcom, Omnipod, Tandem, Freestyle. They've got all your favorites. Even that new eyelet pump. Check them out now at usmed.com/juicebox or by calling 888-721-1514. There are links in the show notes of your podcast player and links at juiceboxpodcast.com to US Med and to all of the sponsors.
It just came after that. Being sedentary in the hospital, I did gain weight, and then it just kept on being an issue. And then, I had the depression real bad after everything, especially losing my buddy. So much so when was it? I was released out of the military with a medical honorable discharge in 2008. I completely felt lost in everything I did because I didn't have that structure anymore. I led to drinking very heavily. Mm-hmm. And at one point at my lowest, I decided I didn't want to deal with this anymore. I attempted suicide.
You made an attempt?
I did.
Okay.
I was successful in the attempt, but what I used didn't work. So to be honest with you, I put my handgun to my head and I pulled the trigger. The firing pin hit the blasting cap of the round. The round just never went off. When that happened, I realized how stupid I was because I was going to end my life and I was just going to put a ton of burden on my family.
Yeah.
After that, I decided I'm done with it. I stopped drinking and I stopped taking all my pain meds. And I went through a horrible detox in a hospital for a little bit of time. Mm. Once I got detoxed, I came back out. I was a paramedic for a system here. Again, working as a paramedic, there was a young lady that sparked my interest for some reason. I was always, you don't ever play where you work. But there was a young lady at one of the hospitals that me and her became really good friends.
Right.
It was great. She helped me through a lot, and she was the first person that I've ever let into my bubble ever since I left the military, especially with, my scarring and everything, because I have skin grafts and I have scars where I've had operations and everything, and it's not the easiest thing to look at.
Okay.
One time she had to do something, and I told her to just come stay at my apartment, because something was being done at her house, and I worked nights, she worked days. I was like, you can sleep in the bed, I'll take the couch, and we have opposite shifts. We won't see each other. Well, I think day 2 or 3, she came in because she got off a little earlier, and I took a little bit later shift, and I was coming out of the shower, and she was coming into the apartment. I didn't hear her. She didn't hear me. And she walked into the bathroom, and that was the first time that I've ever seen a woman walk in on me at my most vulnerable time. And she saw all the scars and the markings and everything, and she didn't look horrified. And that was in 2011. And I'm happy to say that that is my wife now. She completes me. I mean, she has helped me tremendously from the depression to the memory loss and everything else that I've had to deal with ever since my injury.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Curtis, was the memory loss, does it cover a segment or does it cover everything before the injury? Like, I mean, did you forget the day and the week, but not your 10th birthday? Or do you know what I mean? Like, how much did you lose?
When I was injured, and had that, I did not have any memory from anything prior. I didn't know who my parents were. I didn't know I was with somebody at that time. I didn't know who anybody was. All I know was something was going on, and I didn't know what was going on, and it freaked me out.
Yeah.
Still today, I have maybe a handful of memories from my past before the incident, just little spurts because something happened and it brought up a memory. But yeah.
Did stuff return? Like, did somebody have to tell you that's your mom and reintroduce you to her, or did that come back?
I didn't know who my parents were, and they told me who they were, and I still was very reluctant to believe it.
Wow.
But one day I was sitting at home at my place, and Phil Collins in the air came on over the radio, and it sparked a memory. And I was like, it surprised me. It was of me and my father when he used to own part of a towing business. He would always take me in the tow truck and we'd go and do everything. And it sparked a memory of me and him riding in the truck, listening to In the Air Tonight. And then I saw his face. And that's when it clicked. That is truly my father.
That's the first time you were able to believe it really was your dad.
Yep. And that happened, probably 2010, 2011.
Did you share that with him? Did you tell him?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was really rough on my parents because, they see me as injured as I was and so confused and scared, and they just wanted to help. But I was so scared that I didn't know who they were and I didn't want anybody near me.
No, I understand that. From little things to big things.
Mm-hmm.
What if someone lied to you about something about your personality and told them, like, you love this, but you didn't? Or, you know what I mean? Like, if you were married to somebody, definitely would have said, you love doing the laundry and vacuuming.
Right.
How do you trust anything? Because you're hoping these people are being clear with you, but you have no way to I'm assuming there's pictures and, stuff like that, but still you're saying it's hard to swallow that pill.
Yeah. So I've seen all sorts of pictures of my past and videos and everything. And then once my brothers and my sister found out truly what I did in the military, I now no longer have a relationship with one of my sisters and two of my brothers.
Because of your job in the military?
Yes, sir.
They don't like what you were doing?
Correct.
Would you tell me what your job was?
Let's just put it this way. I was deployed to unalive targets or people.
Okay. So you were moving through places, hitting targets?
Yes.
Okay.
In a way.
Okay.
I had a very small skill set that not many of us had. And unfortunately, I do have some of the memories of what I've done in the military ever since it's been so long. And the faces haunt me on a daily basis.
Wow. You stop me if I'm asking too much. Were you a sniper?
I was a scout sniper, yes.
Yeah. God, yeah, that's the thing we talk about. This is me being academic about it. I obviously have no context for it, but we having a big conversation here the other day about like what it must be like for these kids that are flying drones now too. Because you're controlling the thing and the thing is shooting somebody. But with you're looking through a scope and you're seeing that person.
Yes.
There's no getting around it. Do you ever think maybe it's good you don't remember it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Because the little bits that I do remember and the constant reminders I do have and the nightmares, they suck.
Curtis, it occurs to me as you're telling me that, like, if you don't remember anything from your past, but you can picture, some of the engagements that you had, but you don't have the rest of who you were. Like, the rest of who you were might have been trained to deal with that better. The new you doesn't have that training or that experience, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you maybe the old you was good at it, which I know is kind of a horrifying thing for people to hear or think, but maybe that person was better suited to be a sniper than the person who you are now. And now you're stuck with some of that person's memories, but none of their coping skills.
Well, I see what you're saying, but one thing that has helped me is, being a firefighter paramedic for as long as I have been while I was in the service and out of the service, and everything that we've seen on the different calls that I've been to, from shootings, stabbings to suicides, homicides, you name it. It has actually made it to where I was able to cope a whole lot better because of everything that I've been through and seen.
Okay.
But there's always going to be some of these images that I'll never get out of my head that I wish I could.
Do you ever wonder if they're real?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, gosh, man.
But
that's a lot.
Unfortunately, I know it is real. That's the bad part.
Yeah. Also, I mean, listen, it's a weird road to go down. And I understand that people could be morally outraged by the job, but it's your sister. And I mean, you're in the military. They give you a job. You do the job, right? Like, what would have happened if you said, no, thank you? Does that happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that...
If you were to say no in a time of war, yeah, that could be punishable up to and including death.
That's a tough thing for your sister to hang on you, I think. I don't know. I'm not in her situation, but maybe it's, just hard for her to talk to you. Maybe it's just hard for her to make sense of all of it. I don't know. I'm so sorry. There's a lot in there, man. You're young too still. What'd you say? You're 42?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been through a bunch. Let's figure out the diabetes part. Like, so we heard the part about you being diagnosed as a type 2. They gave you metformin, Ozempic. Did Ozempic help you lose weight?
Actually, believe it or not, Ozempic, I was on the highest dose and it did nothing for my weight.
What were you taking? I can't think of what the highest dose is. Is it 2 point?
Is it 2 or 3? I can never remember.
Yeah, that's not enough to lose the weight if it's not working for you. But okay, so you were on Ozempic. Did it help your blood sugars? I mean, it might have helped a little bit back then, right?
It did help. The Ozempic, the metformin, and the other med I was on, the combination of them. I still ran kind of a higher blood sugar, but I was still staying in the pre-diabetic range.
For people who thought you had type 2 or pre-diabetes, they were pretty happy with the care. They didn't realize that you were just in a very early stage of LADA.
Correct.
Right.
And with how my job is very active,
that helped
while
too.
I'm at work, my sugars stay pretty daggum good, but anytime I'm not at work because I don't have the adrenaline going and I'm not going fast, that's when they kept on, my sugars would go up.
Yeah.
So I lost the one doctor because she moved. And so I got this new one that said I was stupid pretty much. And at that time, it was time for my insurance to get a new pre-authorization for Ozempic. She was like, yeah, I'll fill it out, but I don't think they're going to give it to you because you're under what you need to be.
Oh, for the A1C.
For the A1C.
She should have tried for Mounjaro or Wegovy for you for weight before.
Well, she filled it out, and then it came back that, they denied it. And I was like, well, can you, rebuttal this and get it figured out and see what we need to do? Because this was my A1C. And she was like, no, it's just, that's what they're going to say. And she was like, you're pretty much just going to have to get sick worse than you are now.
Yeah. I got a close friend that this happened to recently, where they basically told her to get type 2 diabetes and then they'll give it to her. And she's like, yeah. No, I mean, awesome, right? Like, what a message from, I know it's insurance, and insurance isn't healthcare, really. You know what I mean? It's not your doctor. Your doctor wants you to have it. But can I ask a question? Like, it's going to kind of bother me until I ask it to you.
Go for it.
It's a hustle job, right? I see the guy that works on my street. He's running the whole day in and out of that truck. How are you 300 pounds hustling like that?
I don't know. Because we hustle, and when we hustle, and I'm in a state that stays very, very hot. I live down in Texas.
So you're sweating your ass off on top of everything else.
Exactly. During the summer, the back of that truck can be anywhere from 120 to 150 degrees, easy.
So for people listening, are you eating a lot of calories and that's how you're maintaining the weight? Or do you think it's something more metabolic, or do you have any idea?
We weren't sure because I was on a low carb. Honestly, for my breakfast, I was drinking a protein shake that I made at home. So it was all natural, Yeah, you
knew what was in it.
It wasn't just... Exactly. Yeah. So there was that. And then for lunch was chicken and broccoli every single day.
Jesus. And you're 300 pounds and you're in a sweat box and you're running around like a lunatic.
Yes.
Jeez. At what point do you say to yourself, how is this not impacting my weight?
When the referral or the pre-authorization got denied, at that point, I was at 270.
Okay.
And I was like, well, let's see what's going to happen now. And so I kept on doing the same thing I always did. And because the nurse practitioner, or was she a nurse practitioner or a PA? Either one. But she didn't believe me. I was like, you know what? How about you get me a Dexcom? I was like, then I can prove that I'm not lying because you don't believe me.
this the woman that called you stupid?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, tell me again. Why'd she call you stupid? What did you say that gave her that response?
Because I told her how, with my VA doctor telling me that even though I'm on the pills and Ozempic at that time, that if I couldn't get everything under control, my sugar was going to keep on elevating to where we were going to have to look at the possible use of insulin.
So you said that, and she said you're stupid?
Yep.
That's common sense, isn't it? All right. Okay.
And the thing that was funny was my wife was at that appointment with me, but she will not open up her mouth unless I want
She
her
wants
to
to speak
interject.
for you. Yeah.
And she was biting her tongue going, and she was looking at this woman as, you're an absolute idiot.
I don't understand sometimes.
But she held her tongue. So they agreed to do the Dexcom, and 3 months go by and I go back to her. And at this time, I am incredibly sick. I gained another, this is the time now I'm about 300 pounds. I have no energy whatsoever. I feel like my A1C is now skyrocketed.
Oh, jeez.
And she was like, well, maybe you do have type 2. I was like, well, I've got something because I don't feel right.
Yeah, something's up. So she went from believing that you were pre-diabetic, but now thinking maybe you definitely have type 2 diabetes.
Right.
Okay.
And, I brought in the Dexcom reports, and I brought in a binder of every single thing I ate and at what time I ate it every single day.
Yeah, you're on a little bit of a mission to show her, huh?
Oh yeah. When you tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to prove you I'm right.
I mean, I don't know why people can't just hear what you're saying and go, oh, that's because you didn't say anything that's not reasonable. Like,
right.
Could have just said, hey, let's look into that for you. But nevertheless, okay, so you brought her the reports. I'm sorry. Then what happened?
So then she was like, okay, well, let's see if we can get you on Ozempic. Insurance comes back that prior authorization, they okayed it, but they're not going to cover that drug because that's not on their formulary now.
Awesome.
I was like, okay, great. So then I was put on Mounjaro.
Okay.
And she was like, now that I'm putting you on Mounjaro, you have to come see me every 3 months and whatnot, or I won't continue your prescription.
Did the Mounjaro help you lose weight?
Well, after I started taking the Mounjaro, I started seeing my blood sugars coming down.
Yeah.
I ended up getting up to 12.5 milligrams of Mounjaro.
That's the dose I'm on, by the way. 12.5.
Yep.
Yep.
With that, my diet, exercise, still constantly doing everything. I am now today, I'm at 210 pounds.
Hey, man, look at you. That's awesome. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I wanted to let you tell the story because I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but I was just chomping at the bit myself to tell you, like, get off the Ozempic, go for the Mounjaro, the Zepbound, because it's also got a GIP in it, and that'll definitely help with the weight loss. You've lost 90 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But during that time, I was slowly climbing each level that you had to, and my blood sugars was still messing around, just not something's not right. And
right.
I went back to that doc and I was like, look, something's not right. I still don't feel right. I think something more is going on. And she's like, no, you just need to lose more weight. You need to eat right. And then this will all go away. I was like, it's not going away. That's the problem, because now my sugars are starting to increase again.
Right. Also, you're now you're 20 pounds under when you were running around Fallujah or wherever the hell you are. So, like, I don't know where you are. I'm not asking. But, like, I mean, you're out in let me make the assumption. You were out in the desert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
so
the sandbox.
Right. You were 20 pounds under the weight you were when you were operating there, and you're still seeing the blood sugars. And then she says, lose more weight. Did you say that?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any. All right, I can't stand it.
And then I looked at her and I was like, if you're not going to help, I was like, it's pretty sad that I'm asking you for help because I'm trying to better myself and get my health back into where it needs to be. Mm-hmm. And you're the hinder of it. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm done.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to go find another doctor because you're just not going anywhere. I then went to another provider that's actually works with my wife at the same clinic, and they overtook my care. And with how everything was, they were like, let's try a little bit of long-acting insulin just to see what happens. I was like, okay. Because I have, what is that? The dawn phenomenon?
Dawn phenomenon,
where I would be high as can be in the morning. It was crazy.
Right.
And so we titrated, and I ended up going up to, I think, 22 units a night.
Okay.
And it was kind of working, but then summer came and working outside, part of my language, it was a crapshoot because it was like, okay, am I going to get too hot to where then during the day I'm going to be even worse off because I took too much Lantus, and then it went from having Lantus to then I had ended up having to have short acting as well, and insurance covered Novolog. Bless my provider. They put me on a sliding scale, and I looked at them and I was like, okay, I'll try this for a week and we'll see how it goes. But after a week, if it doesn't do what it should do, I'm going to do it my way.
Okay.
And they looked at me and was like,
how do you know that there was a different way? When they tell you sliding scale, how do you know there's other ways to use insulin? From your wife?
When I was diagnosed, my wife had a good knowledge, but when I want to know something, I research.
You went and dug into it.
And I researched the what out of everything. So much so that I saw a lot of type 1s are carb counting. And I'm like, okay, yes, I'm a type 2, but I'm on insulin. Type 1s are on insulin, so why can't I do the same thing a type 1 does?
Yeah.
To see if that works.
Yeah, man. If you look into it, it makes sense immediately. So that's great. So at what point does someone realize you're not type 2? Like, is that more recently?
It was very recently. So at the beginning of this year, I told the provider, I was like, look, I really think I need to be placed on a pump because with me working outside and taking the long acting and taking the short acting, I swear that long acting messes with me throughout the day if it gets too hot. I was like, something needs to change. And she was like, well, I've never worked with a pump. I don't feel comfortable with a pump.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay. I was like, well, then the next step is I need to get somebody in my care team that's comfortable with a pump. I talked with my wife and I told her, hey, I'm really looking at a pump. I think that'll probably be the best thing for me with how everything is. She was like, okay, how do you want to go about it? And I was like, well, several years ago, I went to a dinner with my wife that had a speaker in our area talk about diabetes and Ozempic.
Okay.
And so I learned a lot from that little meeting. Well, for Endo, she is huge on research when it comes to diabetes and everything, and she is very well known. And so I was like, well, then that's who I want my Endo to be. And that's also the Endo that my wife refers to.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I want the best. I don't want something mediocre. We had a consult put in because of how my schedule was and everything. I was told it was going to be about a 4 or 5 month wait. It ended up being closer to 6 months. I went and saw her middle of August to prepare. I asked my provider, I was like, hey, what I want done is let's do labs. So when I walk in there, I have everything to give her and there's no question about anything. I was like, so I want all my labs done that I do every 3 months, but I also want all my antibodies for type 1 done.
Get that out of the way too. So, yeah.
Just so I walk in a week before my appointment, all my labs come back and I look at my wife and my wife has been saying, there's something about you that's different. You're not type 2 and you're not type 1. She was like, you're in between because you have a lot of the traits of both of them. And that's why we went with the testing. And when we got the results back before I went to the appointment, it showed that I had pretty much LADA.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, I knew it. And I was like, well, sounds like you're right. I'm not ever going to say you're wrong. That's for sure. So I did my research, got it all figured out. And then I also put in a list of, hey, this is how my progress has been. And because I've had a fight with several providers to get anything done correctly that needed to be done.
Yeah.
So I was ready to go in there. I was going to listen to them, but I was ready to react if I need to and say, hey, here's the facts. This is what I want. This is how we're going to do it. I walked in and, they were asking me some questions and I had everything from them, from how much insulin I was taking at any given time. I told them, I was doing the sliding scale, but I went and did the carb counting. I know my carb ratio. I know my insulin resistance. I know it all. What do you want to know? And they looked at me and said, how do you know all this stuff? And I was like, well, I researched a lot. And then I got tired of researching and I was starting to look for podcasts. And I said, I listened to 5 or 6 podcasts before I was like, you know what? I'm done. None of them are helping. They were boring to me. And then I was like, then I, of course, saw your podcast and I was like, I guess I'll listen to his newest one, just see how it is.
Okay.
And during it, you were talking about the Pro Series, episodes 1000 to 1026 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I'm really interested. So I listened to those. And that's what helped me with my carb ratio, insulin resistance, and just getting my levels all figured out myself.
Oh, I'm glad for you.
And when I went into the endo, I said, here's everything. And they're like, well, what would you like to do today? And I was like, well, honestly, I was coming in for help. And they were like, well, has anybody talked to you about a pump? Because she looked at my blood work and she was like, oh, you're LADA. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm not even going to have to fight for this.
Yes.
You just looked at, I was like,
Curtis is like, cool. I'm so ready for this fight and nobody going to fight. But you know why there's no fight? Because of all what you did.
Right. They were like, you're a very type A personality. And I'm like, no, I just want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row before I walk in.
Trying to stay alive. Thanks.
Yeah.
What do you think, Curtis, is it about you that makes that your reaction? Because I talk to people all the time and they all have, the same ability you do, and they could make decisions like that and get out ahead and collect information. But some of them do and some of them don't. Do you have any idea about why you're a person who does?
The big thing is I'm tired of feeling sick.
Okay.
I just want to feel good again. I wanted to be better. I've got my wife, I've got 4 kids, and I'm looking at this going, if I don't take care of myself, I'm going to start being like my father, who's type 2, that's not in really good control. And you can see it. And I've tried helping him, but he's like, oh, I'll listen to what the docs say. Okay.
Mm.
But I was like, I'm not ready to leave this planet just yet because of my stupidity again.
I got you.
And, instead of using a firearm, it
would be diabetes.
I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah. No, you'd be making the decision. Yeah, it's so funny you're talking about this, Curtis. I made an episode earlier today with Erica. She's in a lot of the mental health stuff. I kind of drug her into an episode where I was like, look, I want to talk about the trolley problem. And I think, and I don't know if you know that, it's like a thought exercise, right? If there were 5 people, there's a runaway trolley, 5 people tied to the track, you have nothing to do with tying them there. And then there's a lever. And if you pull the lever, the trolley would divert onto another track, but there's a person tied up there. Would you pull the lever, divert the track so that the one person was killed instead of the 5 people? A pretty common, thought exercise. It's, people talk about all the time. That bigger picture, you'll have to listen to the episode to hear kind of where my brain went with it. But it made me think about people's inaction and how with health, you can see people make the decision that, like, I didn't do this to myself. There's a big bad wolf out there somewhere. They tied the people to this track, this health track that I'm on. It's got nothing to do with me. If I don't do anything and something goes wrong, it's not my fault. It's an unseen foe's fault. It's a bad guy somewhere that did something to me. But if I get involved in it, now suddenly the outcomes are on me. It's easier to do nothing and then get to blame a faceless thing later. And you're telling me that that's what your dad's doing.
Kind of. But he's actually now starting to take
listening.
Control of it.
Look at him. Awesome. You getting through to him too?
I am.
Curtis.
And I actually I was telling my mom, I was like, hey, you need to get Dad to get tested for type 1. I was like, just because of how I've been watching his numbers, because they let me start looking at his numbers through his Dexcom.
Yeah.
I'm seeing how, a pump will help him tremendously. So I'm not really trying to push it on him, but I'm saying, hey, a pump could really help. To telling him, hey, try pre-bolusing. Don't do this sliding scale like you're told. Let's figure out your carb count. Let's figure out insulin resistant and everything else and go from there.
Yeah.
I was like, once I did that, things turned around for me.
Wow. Curtis, I got to tell you, you've been talking for 50 minutes. You've said a lot of interesting things, but I just want to point out that what my ego heard was there are 5 other podcasts out there about diabetes that are boring. That's all I heard. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but that's... I appreciate you being kind about mine.
Oh, it's me being honest. And actually, once I went to the endo, I will say that they were on board with everything that I requested. And then they asked me about pumps. And I was like, yeah, it's easy. I want the Tandem Mobi. And they're like, but that's tubed. I was like, you got to understand. I work outside. It's hot. If it gets too hot, I can take that off, put it in my cooler to cool it down a little bit, and then put it back on.
You like the idea of it being able to take it off. I would also imagine with the Mobi being able to wear it with one of those, what's that on body kind of thing, or you could clip it to something.
The sleeve?
Yeah, so you have options there too.
Actually, believe it or not, I wear boxer briefs, and
clip it to that?
For some reason, they put pockets on them for some time.
On the boxer briefs?
Yeah, they're just a little pocket to put like your phone in it or whatnot. I just dropped the Mobi in it, and that's where it sits.
Curtis, you have to be careful. You lose a little more weight, those briefs are going to slide right off you.
I went from a size 42 to a 34.
Isn't it crazy? So, I mean, you've lost 90. I've lost about 70. My brother and I were somewhere the other day, and he's getting picking up a sweatshirt as a memory of the day somewhere. And I was in there with him, and you guys might know from listening to him, I'm very cheap. So I was walking around and I'm like, oh, these are expensive, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you can afford a sweatshirt? I'm like, I don't want to spend all the money on that. And then I saw a t-shirt and I was like, I do like that t-shirt though. And it was stylistically not something that I would have bought prior to having lost weight because there was an image on the front. I would never want somebody to be looking at the image because then you could see the topography of my visage. You know what I mean? Like when you're wearing a solid color, it's a little harder to see your tits, I guess is what I'm saying here. I had no trouble buying the image on the shirt. And on top of that, I tried on a couple of different sizes and I left with a medium. And nice. I was a 2XL, you know? What a great experience. And be, plus the way I feel and how much better I feel and et cetera. Are you feeling like now that you've got your diabetes in check on top of your weight, can you describe the change that's happened for you from 300 pounds not on insulin to on insulin 220 or 210?
Well, I will say having insulin is a little different. It was a big change to get used to. But I mean, losing the weight and with me constantly exercising, I didn't have a lot of the excess skin that some people do, which is great.
Right.
But because I've lost weight, I've got more energy.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do more, whereas there's some things that I couldn't do because just walking, I get a little winded.
Oh, you must have exhausted yourself at work during the day, too. I would imagine you weren't worth anything when you got home.
Exactly. I was ready to go to bed. And then even right now, if my blood sugar goes anywhere over 135, yeah. I am worthless. Like me and my wife can sit there, everything's fine. And once it hits over 135, I get automatically sleepy. I'm ready to go to sleep.
You've gotten your management to the point where it sounds like your blood sugars are lower and your variability is very low too.
So my last blood draw, my A1C was a 5.2 or a 5.1. And the standard deviation that I run with the Dexcom is anywhere from 7 to 12.
Jesus, that's awesome. Do you think you're still honeymooning? Do you think the LADA's still, are you, I don't want to say full blown, but are you?
Still currently not converted all the way. I still have some of my beta cells.
Okay.
That's another thing. So I'm LADA, but if you look at my medical record, it doesn't say that. It says I'm type 2. Insulin dependent.
That's crazy.
And the reason we had to keep that was we knew that if they were to switch mine to type 1 or LADA,
you'd lose the Mounjaro.
I would lose the Mounjaro. Yeah. And they want me to stay on the Mounjaro because the Mounjaro is helping my insulin sensitivity.
Oh, I bet.
But it's also helping my heart, my kidneys, and everything else.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep that going as long as we can because there's studies going on right now about type 1s with a GLP.
Oh, yeah.
And everything.
Keep your head down, Curtis, and there'll be coverage for type 1s sooner than
yeah. And so I'm just waiting for that, and then it'll get changed. The middle of August, I was seen by the endo, and by the end of August, I had the Mobi, and I started the Mobi, and I went from taking anywhere from, I had the 22 units of Lantus, and then throughout the day, I was taking anywhere, including the Lantus, anywhere from 40 to 80 units a day. Now I'm actually looking at my summary on Tandem right now, and it says my average daily use of insulin is 23 units.
23. That's basal and bolus together?
That's basal and bolus together.
If you have insulin resistance, kids, that GLP will help you. Well, I don't care what type you are. That's really awesome. Man, good for you. That's great. Yeah, you're making me feel. It's the end of my week. You're my last recording this week, and I'm sitting here feeling like something I did help somebody. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm making me feel good. I appreciate that you share this with us.
You definitely have helped. I mean, after that endo appointment, I was like, you know what? I'm about to get put on a pump. I'm going to listen to the Pro Series again. Started on the Pro Series, and I just started listening to every episode after that. And I'm at episode, what was it? Almost 1,300.
Wow.
It's like 1,298, because with my job, since I don't really have a lot of interaction with a lot of people, I just listen to the podcast every day, all day long. And it's fun to listen to because you hear everybody's different stories. And then someone will say something and it's like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, let's look into that.
That's the value, I think, of people, besides the entertainment of it, is that if you just let people talk, they'll say something that's really valuable. You said something, I mean, it's half an hour ago now, that I still feel like in my chest. Like, I still feel it. Like, you talked about your attempting suicide, and I mean, just like the dumb luck of that firing pin not doing its job, right? And what you took from it, like everything that came to you after that, it's really I just think really valuable, because you probably would have had that thought as that bullet was traveling through the chamber, and it would have been too late. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that thought that hit you of like, I shouldn't be doing this. And you got, whatever steps in and gives you an opportunity to make another decision. And then you took it. And then everything of your story after that is really just a masterful example of being an adult and taking care of yourself. You're really kicking ass, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I can't take all the credit, though.
Now, you got a wife. I'm sure she tells you when you're being dumb. That's probably helpful. And
well, I do tell everybody. At the time, I married an Irish redheaded ER nurse, okay, where she could kill me, bring me back to life, and kill me again just because I ticked her off. Well, she is now advanced, and now she's a nurse practitioner. So now she's got a slew of other things she can do to me. So yeah.
And she make 4 babies for you?
Well, we're actually a blended family.
Okay.
I have one son, and she has 2 sons and a daughter. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you straight up, they're all my kids. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. Anytime anybody asks me how many kids I got, I always tell them 4.
4, yeah. Look at you.
Because I've been with them since they were young.
Yeah.
Our daughter, she's now a nurse. Our oldest son, he is an engineer. Our middle son, he is actually today taking the test to become to get into the police academy. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping he does well there.
Good luck.
Our youngest is finishing up high school.
Wow, man. Look at you guys. That's awesome. You're a lovely person too, Curtis. This is my first time really meeting you. I've seen you online a little bit, but not to this level, obviously.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, this is really wonderful of you. What made you want to share this with everybody?
Everybody's got a story, and you got my
4
story
of them.
might right? Yeah. My story might impact somebody to say, hey, I've been there, and if I can pull through it, you can.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I still have my dark days. I always will.
I wanted to ask you about depression. Is that something you still fight with?
Every day.
Yeah.
But I can honestly tell you, I'll never attempt on my life again. Because now, one, I realize how stupid I was back then. And that was before I met my wife. Now I've got all my family, including my parents and brother. I've got 4 kids that look at me, and if I was willing to do that and hurt myself again, how would that help them?
Yeah.
And so everything I do is I do it for my family. I don't play that game anymore.
Yeah. There's worse reasons to do things. That's for sure. That's a pretty good one. I really do appreciate you telling me this. I want to make sure, is there anything like, I'm not cutting you off, but like, if I just feel like you did such a good job of telling your story that if I keep talking, it's going to ruin what you did. But I want to make sure there's nothing that we missed.
The biggest thing is if somebody's on the edge of, do I need a pump? Do I not need a pump? Should I be on insulin? Do your research. I mean, honestly, do a little bit of research goes a long way. And with me doing the research and me presenting everything that I needed to at the doctor, I had it all in a binder, everything from my meds, my history, to everything about my diabetes, to my lab work, and they just flipped through it and said, wow, you are really organized. They didn't have a problem.
Yeah, you did their job for them, really.
Right. And I will say my endo did tell me, they're like, well, you have a 5.2, which is really good. Just realize that these pumps, you might not keep it that low because, their target range is higher than what I've always kept my stuff at. I was like, I understand that, but it'll help keep me feeling better.
Yeah.
I mean, and instead of having to have two different insulins, I have one insulin. And, I run the Control IQ algorithm. I let it do its thing, and it keeps me in check really well. And the reason I went with Tandem instead of the Omnipod, one, if I was to pull the Omnipod off to cool it down, well, you
can't put it back on.
I don't get it. Yeah. Exactly. And with the Omnipod, they tend to be less aggressive with their algorithm than the Control IQ.
Do you know, Curtis, that right now I think Omnipod is they're doing a study right now. I think they're calling it it's Omnipod. I don't know if it's 2.0 or something like that, but they're doing a study right now to make the algorithm. I'm going to use the word more aggressive. I don't know how they would characterize it, but one way or the other, that's not important. What's important is you find something that works for you. And that's for everybody listening. Now, beyond that, what's important is finding something that works for you. But then, of course, once you find it, using my link to buy it, twiist.com/juicebox, omnipod.com/juicebox, tandemdiabetes.com/Medtronic Diabetes. You would just find the links at the webpage so we can keep making this podcast and hearing from people like Curtis, who has a fascinating, you really have somehow don't remember the first 22 years of your life, only the last 20, and still have 4 lives worth of stories to tell. Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
No, man, that's incredible. Like, I mean, you're one person. You talked about being injured in battle and nearly dying. Did you get the Purple Heart?
Yes.
Did they give you a medal for covering your buddy?
They requested it. I didn't want it.
You didn't want it. Okay.
No.
Well, you deserve it.
Because he was my brother.
No, I hear you, man. But like, you weren't wearing that vest anymore when you got on top of him, right?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. So that in itself is a story. Then there's everything that happened to you with your memory loss and your recovery. That's a story in itself. Fighting through this type 2 diabetes misdiagnosis thing. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm going to talk to somebody about it, but it's horrifying. And most people don't have the great outcome that you had. So, like, I know how difficult that is. The subplot here of the story with your sister judging you the way she does, and you've lost family, tried to take your own life. You're fighting with depression, and you're still living a really successful life out in the world, being a great part of it, being a dad to 4 people, a husband to somebody, and finding a way to take care of yourself, and then taking 5 minutes to come on here and tell everybody else about it. Yeah, seriously, man. If I had a medal, I'd give it to you.
Well,
I do not. You're welcome. I don't have one, just in case you're wondering. I could give you this Dexcom fidget spinner that I have here, but I don't know where to send it. I got this at Friends for Life. Guys, if you've been hearing this on the podcast, I apologize. Can you hear it? I hope not.
What? Oh,
yeah, you can't hear this.
I just heard something spin.
I've been fidget spinning for like weeks now while I'm talking to people. And originally, probably right now, Rob's editing this and thinking like, is that what that noise is? I didn't know what that was. Usually it's a cricket gets loose in my room and I can't find it and I'm trying to record and it's in the background like making a bunch of noise. But that's a different story. If you don't listen to enough of the podcast, that's not going to make any sense to you.
Just let one of your little guys run around.
Yeah, you know what? That's not though. I'm getting right now. One of them is definitely looking at me like, let's do one more roach today. He's giving me the big eyes. So
the cool thing is just to add on to the story.
Please.
Because with my lows, I can't tell you when I get low until I hit about 30.
Oh, gee.
Once I hit 30, I got less than 5 minutes to do something about it or I'm down.
Yeah, we don't want you that low. Well, how does that happen? I mean, you're wearing a CGM, right?
Sometimes it happens pretty quick.
Fast.
It's just really weird. So because of it, that's one thing that my wife was very worried about, us sleeping. And next thing we know it, she's not hearing the alarms and I am very hypo. to where if you look at service dogs, and people have said stuff about it on the Facebook post, they're like $30,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's affording that. I actually apparently got somebody one for free in a giveaway. I'd forgotten about it. I interviewed him, and her son won a trip to Camp Sweeney through the podcast, and she's thanking me for it. And then she's like, also, I'm the one that won the service dog in your giveaway. And I was like, wait, what?
Awesome.
Well, listen, first of all, let's be clear. Do you have Baqsimi or Gvoke at the house? So you have glucagon with you?
I have Gvoke because of your podcast.
Good. Let them hear that. People know activity. A lot of times you'll see like latent lows overnight when you have activity, but you have activity every day with your job. Yeah.
So we actually because I used to have a service dog in the past. Unfortunately, she died of cancer.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Was that more for like just emotional support?
Kind of.
Yeah.
She actually was deployed several times over in the sandbox as well. She was actually a military working dog. She retired and got to come home and live with me.
Oh.
She was converted into a service dog to help me through the PTSD and all that.
Was she a shepherd, Curtis?
She was a Belgian Malinois.
Oh, wow. Beautiful dog. Okay.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, if we're going to do this, we'll train the dog ourselves, one. And two, I was like, I don't want a big dog again. I was like, I need something small because I ride a Harley all the time. And so much so that I gave her something impossible to find and leave it to a woman. She found it. So now I have I'm not kidding you, she's less than 2 pounds, a little Chihuahua.
Are you telling me that it's you on a Harley with a Chihuahua in a saddlebag?
Yep. She's been trained for my lows. We still train daily by using saliva from when I was low and everything. But she has jumped on that bandwagon, and that little dog can detect a low really quick.
No kidding. You trained your own service Chihuahua.
Yeah, so just think about a big guy jumping off a Harley with a Chihuahua on his chest.
Honestly, Curtis, all I can think about is when I sit down 3 months from now and explain to ChatGPT to make me an image of a burly guy on a Harley Davidson going through Texas with a Chihuahua in a saddlebag to see what it comes up with.
Oh, you're going to have to send it to me because in next year or 2028, I'm actually going to be doing a 10,000 mile motorcycle challenge.
Good for you.
And I've got to raise money for a charity, but I also have to get sponsors for it because it's going to cost about $17,000 to do.
To go on the ride.
And it's a ride where you can't use GPS. It's all secondary highways. It's not really any interstates. The directions that you're given are old MapQuest directions. You have a tracker. If you go over 99 miles an hour, you get disqualified. If you get pulled over by a cop, you get disqualified. And whenever you stop to sleep, you have to sleep next to your motorcycle.
Oh, you can only sleep where you can put the bike. No kidding.
Last year, they went from Daytona, Florida, down to Key West to Homer, Alaska. A buddy of mine did it, and he actually finished first.
No kidding. That's an accomplishment.
It was awesome to watch him.
Yeah.
And I've decided that what I am going to do, because in my local area, there's actually a diabetic alert dog trainer. I'm talking with him, and what I'm going to try doing is raising enough money to where I can actually pay for 2 diabetic alert dogs to be given to diabetics in need. And I'm hoping that I can give at least one to a veteran.
Oh, I hope you can do that too. That'd be amazing. Really?
So,
yeah, Curtis, I had the opportunity last year to give a number of slots away to kids to go to camp. Actually, a diabetes camp in Texas called Camp Sweeney, right? I can't tell you how good that ended up feeling. And it wasn't even money out of my pocket. I was just doing it like from the podcast. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of the front face of it. And I felt terrific about it. I really did. So much so that they reached out to me just recently. In September of 2025, they reached back out and they said, hey, would you give some more away for next season? I said, absolutely. That'd be great. And I've already reached out to a sponsor and asked them if they could cover the part that the Camp Sweeney can't cover. And I'm hoping to give 4 away again next year, just because you'll see how good it'll make you feel if you're able to give someone that dog, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It'll be special for you. I wish you a ton of luck. I hope you can accomplish that. I know it's hard to get people to sponsor things and, like that kind of stuff too, because they're going to be looking for, what are they going to get out of it?
Well, I'm even going to try getting Tandem involved, Omnipod, anybody that I can, just to get awareness out.
Yeah.
The cool thing is my goal to do it is to be one of the top elite finishers. So if you finish in 10 to 14 days, you're an elite finisher. 14 to 21 days, you're a finisher. And anything over 21 days, you're a slow ass finisher. Well, I want to be the first one across.
Curtis, tell me, is this a company that tracks the riders, or is there a website?
There is a website. I'm not sure if they want me to let people know, but it's a very, very popular challenge for motorcyclists.
What can you just tell me what the challenge is called? Don't worry about the website.
Well, I guess. I mean, I don't think they'll kill me for it, but it's called the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge.
Okay.
And it's really cool how it's done, and it's a big challenge for a person to do, because to get done in 10 days, that means I'll be having to do 1,000 miles a day.
Yeah, that's something else. 1,000 miles of riding is, dude, I've driven 700 miles in a day in a car, and it almost puts me out. You know what I mean? So being upright on a bike, have you thought already about how to manage your type 1 during that?
Well, because of the insulin needs, and also I get back injections done because of my injuries.
Shot in the back, yeah.
I can't carry it all with me without it going bad. So I've already reached out to them about, my wife meeting me at all the checkpoints to where I can swap out and get the equipment and everything that I need to take care of my diabetes for that stretch.
Yeah, so you're just going to have enough on you that if something emergent happens, you can deal with it, but the kind of big supplies are going to be from checkpoint to checkpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the only place I can meet her is at a checkpoint, which is fine with me. Pepper, my little Chihuahua, she's actually going to take the ride with me. So she's got a little carrier that'll be right behind me in my seat.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm looking at the challenge online now. It's great. I really hope it's something you can get accomplished. All right. Well, listen, let me say thank you and goodbye. This was absolutely awesome. I really want to just one more time tell you about, I'm proud of you. Like, this is quite an accomplishment. You're a person who really did a lot with their life in the face of a lot of challenges, and it's very commendable. So congratulations.
I appreciate it.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hold on one second for me. Okay. US Med sponsored this episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Check them out at usmed.com/juicebox or by calling 888-721-1514. Get your free benefits check and get started today with US Med. Today's episode was sponsored by Skin Grip. And Skin Grip, they understand what life with diabetes is like, and they know how infuriating it can be when a device falls off prematurely. And they don't want that to happen to you. Juicebox Podcast listeners save 20% off with their first order when you use the link skingrip.com/juicebox. Links are also available in the show notes of your podcast player and at juiceboxpodcast.com. Summertime is right around the corner, and Omnipod 5 is the only tube-free automated insulin delivery system in the United States. Because it's tube-free, it's also waterproof, and it goes wherever you go. Learn more at my link, omnipod.com/juicebox. That's right, Omnipod is sponsoring this episode of the podcast, and at my link, you can get a free starter kit. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Full terms and conditions can be found at omnipod.com/juicebox. Hey, thanks for listening all the way to the end. I really appreciate your loyalty and listenership. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back very soon with another episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Hey kids, listen up. You've made it to the end of the podcast. You must have enjoyed it. You know what else you might enjoy? The private Facebook group for the Juicebox Podcast. I know you're thinking, oh, Facebook, Scott, please. But no, beautiful group, wonderful people, a fantastic community. Juicebox Podcast, Type 1 Diabetes on Facebook. Of course, if you have type 2 or you're touched by diabetes in any way, you're absolutely welcome. It's a private group, so you'll have to answer a couple of questions before you come in. We'll make sure you're not a bot or an evildoer. Then you're on your way. You'll be part of the family. If you're looking to meet other people living with type 1 diabetes, head over to juiceboxpodcast.com/juicecruise because next June, that's right, 2026, June 21st, the second Juice Cruise is happening on the Celebrity Beyond cruise ship. It's a 7-night trip going to the Caribbean. We're going to be visiting Miami, Coco Cay, St. Thomas, and St. Kitts. Yeah, the Virgin Islands. You're going to love the Virgin Islands. Sail with Scott and the Juicebox community on a week-long voyage built for people and families living with type 1 diabetes. Enjoy tropical luxury, practical education, and judgment-free atmosphere. Perfect day at Coco Bay, St. Kitts, St. Thomas. 5 interactive workshops with me and surprise guests on type 1 hacks and tech, mental health, mindfulness, nutrition, exercise, personal growth, and professional development. Support groups and wellness discussions tailored for life with type 1. And celebrities, world-class amenities, dining, and entertainment. This is open from every age, newborn to 99. I don't care how old you are. Come out. Check us out. You can view staterooms and prices at juiceboxpodcast.com/juicecruise. The last Juice Cruise just happened a couple weeks ago. 100 of you came. It was awesome. We're looking to make it even bigger this year. I hope you can check it out. The episode you just heard was professionally edited by Wrong Way Recording. wrongwayrecording.com.